This war was forced upon us by a dreaded enemy. Animals that kill women, children, and old people. The horrors that Hamas has done, we have not seen for many years. Children handcuffed that were executed with the rest of their families. Young people were shot in the back, executed, and other horrors that I will not describe here. We have always known who the Hamas have been. Now the whole world knows. Hamas is the ISIS, and we will beat it just like the Western world has beaten ISIS. This terrible enemy wanted the war, and it will receive a war. At the beginning of the war, I instructed to do 5 immediate things. The first action was to clear the villages and to stop the entrance of any enemy. These battles are still taking place. Several terrorists are still within us, and our forces are working around the clock to eliminate them. The second action that is currently is to start a massive attack against the Hamas with force that has never seen before. The third action was to fortify the rest of the borders with the north with Hezbollah, in Judea and Samaria, and inside the country, and to hug our fighters, all the security people that have been working tirelessly in all of these fronts, risking their lives in order to protect the Israeli country. The fourth action was to continue the international support that I started gaining with the start of the war on Saturday to help us fight against our enemies. The final action, which for me is the top priority, is to solidify the unity in the country. We are now all united, and when we are united, we will win. The country is united, and now the management needs to unite. I'm calling the opposition leaders to immediately form a national unity government without any, just like happened with Menachem Begin at the start of the Six-Day War. Citizens of Israel, we started, and I emphasize, we just started to hit the Hamas. The images of the Hamas bases in Gaza is just the beginning. We have killed many terrorists, and this is not going to stop. I said that any place from which Hamas operates will turn into rubble. This is already happening today, and it will continue happening even more so. I am in constant communication with President Biden, and I would like to thank him on behalf of all citizens of Israel. The USA supporting Israel in every way, have a plane carrier, biggest in the area, is on its way to this area. And the enemies of Israel understand what that means. I would also like to thank many leaders in the world for their support in Israel. Citizens of Israel, I have to tell you, there's also some fake news and propaganda that is trying to separate us and scare us, such as the information that there are lots of tunnels, or the fake news that the Egyptian army, the Egyptian official has warned us about this, which has never happened before. Do not believe this propaganda. And the one thing that is most important in war is staying calm. I know we all want results right here, right now, but it will take some time. But I promise you, dear citizens, at the end of the war, all our enemies will know it was a terrible mistake to attack Israel. What we will do to our enemy in the next few days will echo for generations. Already, the battlefield is filled with heroic stories of our people, from the citizens, the policemen, the soldiers. I saw a video of standing with his people after killing the terrorist. This is our spirit, standing strong together. I also watched a video of David, an army soldier whose child he was out on the field and he saw the ceremony of the Brit on video. And when he heard the words from the ceremony, his eyes filled with tears. Yesterday, I appointed Gal Hirsch to be in charge of those abducted and missing. He has already begun his work, and we will do everything for them. Our heart is with the families of the abducted and with the families of those who have died. We have lost entire families, boys and girls, old men, old women, young and old, police and security, Jews and non-Jews.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.